Yeah.
Harris County's Asian population grew 40% from 2010 to 2020. That's according to U.S. Census data. Also, according to the census, about 8% of the population in Harris County identifies as Asian. Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the country, and we wanted to celebrate that diversity right here on Hello Houston for Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. To discuss the cultural and economic impact the Asian community has right here in Houston, we welcome Paul Gore, the co-director of Asian Chamber of Commerce Houston. If you have any questions for Paul, you can call us now at 713-440-8870.
Paul,
Nice.
welcome to the program. You know,
Welcome.
Celeste just read the population grew by 40% from 2010 to 2020. But I guess also there was a growth in Asian-owned businesses.
Yes.
Went up in our area.
That is correct, and it's good to be here live and talking about the Asian Heritage Month here, but even more so representing the Asian community here. So yes, it did grow. It grew
Also by 40%.
Yeah, equally, and it's even more so. Our sales receipt growth is now $47 billion of impact here
And just in Houston.
in Houston alone.
That's phenomenal.
So what? I know why I came to Houston. It was my job. What's the attraction to come to Houston for Asian people?
I believe affordability is one. The other aspect of it is opportunities. You see a lot of growth that is happening in Houston. If you look at the West Coast, East Coast, it's quite expensive to just live as a family. Yeah. And then you also have companies that have migrated their own employees into here. A lot of tech companies and energy companies that have relocated here and brought some of the Asian population as we speak. So it's a big growing community.
I've always read that Vietnamese is one of, if not the other language besides English, it's certainly one of the top.
It is. And let me just go down to the demographics of Asians.
Okay.
In the order of population. You have South Asian as number one, then Vietnamese, and Chinese, Filipino, Pakistani, Korean, Japanese, Cambodian, Taiwanese, and Thai. Those are the top 10. You brought up Vietnamese. It's interesting because the Vietnamese community now has surpassed Los Angeles to be the second largest Vietnamese community in North America.
Really?
And the first one is San Jose.
I want to go back to a percentage that we were talking about, that 40% of the growth in population, but also the growth in business. And I'm curious if I'm making this correlation correctly or if it's just because the numbers sound like they should go together. It implies that I would think a lot of Asian Americans are self-owned business folk, that they do come in with that mindset to own business, to be their own kind of, their own boss in some way.
Yeah, and let me bring back to the history of our chamber. We were founded 35 years ago. This is our 35th anniversary in 1990, when the founding, members created the chamber with the initiatives of helping small business. A lot of them were grocery store owners as well as restaurant owners, and it really evolved not only just those type of demographics, but anyone who wants to do business. It's interesting that I have the data of this growth because if you look at the Houston population back then, in the 1980s is 1.8%. It has grown now to 7% in 2010, and now if I looked at combined, those who at least put Asians in the U.S. Census data, it's 9.5. And our Houston population is 7.5 million. Wow. So that's about 700,000 Asians that are residing here. With that correlation of growth, the U.S. Census data, according to Pew Research, says one out of every 6 Asian adults are doing business in the nation. And so that's related here in Houston as well, in that growth, and they look for opportunities. 67% of those who came who are residing here is actually foreign-born, meaning they chosen to migrate.
Did you say?
67%, 67.57% of all those who are residing here has migrated from Asia and relocated here as a land of opportunities. And with that, they wanted to either start business or somehow be employed.
What's the biggest challenge that someone from an Asian country, what's their biggest challenge when they get to America and specifically to Houston?
Well, culture shock.
Yeah.
Cultural is a big, I guess you could say, challenge when they came here. learning something different, something new of how to do business, how to interact with people, all the way to, I guess you could say, learning the ropes of transactional stuff.
Do most Asian people come here with a pretty good handle of English? I don't know what's taught there in their schools, but do they come here and then learn English, or do they already have some grasp of it?
Depending on the social status they have from their home countries. And I say that because you have different types of people who have migrated here. Those who have wealth and decided that they want to come here as an opportunity. So they bring their wealth into the U.S. as well as their family. So they learn pretty much English and how to do business in that perspective. But you also have a lot of refugees who have came in certain whatever circumstances they have, and they had to just learn the ropes and try to just learn how to do things to survive. Either they know how to do business or transactional things, or doing loose odd end jobs to just be able to be here in the U.S.
Since we're celebrating AAPI month, and I'm sure this is a common question that would go to any immigrant community, but coming in, the challenge and the support they get in becoming merging into American culture, but also holding on to traditions and values that come from their homelands. How does the Chamber, in some ways, and the celebration like this month help to foster that?
Good question. I think a lot of the cultural standpoints of Asian is through food. And a lot of interesting data that I can share with you is about 42% of all food and accommodations here in the greater Houston area is Asian owned. So the whole aspect of celebrations of food is really detrimental to their hearts of the Asian culture. So when you celebrate that, we normally have family gatherings that come in and just share the different types of cuisines that are resonates back to their homeland, which also invites those who are from different cultures to come in and immerse and be able to understand that. And in histories, we've had our Asian Restaurant Month. This year, we put a pause on that and focus on Asian Restaurant Series and helping our Asian restaurants own and be able to help survive in the challenges that they have today.
Well, and just like in America, you are going to get very different food up in Maine or Minnesota or Florida or Texas or California. It's unfair to say Asian food, because there's so many different kinds of foods and specialties that come out of Thailand or Japan or China. So you have this month of Asian celebration, but how do you break it down?
As far as like cultural diversity?
Yeah,
or
do you have one big festival, or do you have different nights for different countries? How does it work?
Well, during the Asian Heritage Month, it's basically the history is from our president that have deemed this particular month the cultural celebration. In that it's the recognitions of the Asian population here. But a lot of the cultural celebration actually happens in Lunar New Year. And the aspect of the new year that we follow the lunar calendar. And some of those celebrations come from like a lion dance that they have, firecrackers that they do. But also when they have food, they have mooncakes with the lunar festivals, that same. So throughout the year, we do have celebrations.
True.
It happens that May happens to be the United States recognitions of our heritage culture that we do celebrate. And we also have, I believe there's an Asian food tour, Asiatown tour that goes around too as well, inviting those who are looking to immerse in our rich community that we have here.
You're listening to Hello Houston, and we're speaking with Paul Gore, the co-director of the Asian Chamber of Commerce. You can give us a call at 713-440-8870 to join the conversation. Now, Paul, I have a quick question. Now we go back to looking at it from a business perspective. What types of challenges do Asian small business owners face? And do you think they're different from other small business owners?
It's very similar to a lot of the small business owners here. A lot of them is capital, finding capital, basically money, lending, interest rate that has come around here. Previously, during the pandemic, it was more of a stereotypical thing of, I guess, the Asians that are bringing the pandemic here, but it has really subsided. And now I believe it's just focusing on opportunities for the different things that everyone else is coming in Houston.
And you mentioned something about the pandemic. During COVID times, we did see a major uptick in hate crimes towards the Asian community. Do you feel like that has subsided? Where are we at in regards to that?
Actually, it was great that Houston did not see too many of those hate crimes. We were very fortunate. A lot of East Coast, West Coast had that because a lot of them took public transportation. So there's a lot of interactions where Houston is a lot of transits through cars and vehicles. We didn't see that much here. The only thing is safety is a concern too as well. You see a lot of the Asians, I guess in Asiatown has been our target of petty crimes and some of the violent crime too as well. But it's related to the pandemic of hate crime specifically for the Asian. It's great that we didn't see too much of that in Houston.
And, obviously we've talked about Houston is extremely diverse. It's one of the largest cities in the nation. Why is it so important for Asians to have representation when it comes to owning businesses and being part of a thriving economy?
Good question. And when we looked at the U.S. Census data, there are about 24,000 Asian-owned employer-based business here in Houston. And if you look at the number of percentage, that equals about 20.56%, meaning that one out of every five business here that's operating is Asian-owned. So that's a big economic impact to the greater Houston area. And we're here as good as citizens to make sure we're employing those who are here, wanting to have an opportunity for our family, and the whole aspect of investments. And that's why the Asian Chamber is not only just Asian-owned business, but those who want to do business with the Asian community, because they know it's an opportunity, as well as those coming from overseas and using Houston as a launch pad to be part of this great city and great country. So we represent that community at large, and we're really pro-business in that standpoint.
Let me ask you a more cultural question. As the population grows and you assimilate into the larger community, and this happens with a lot of what we term minority communities, you start to become part of the general fabric and could lose some of what the traditions you carry with you forward. You can see that in certain bars that used to accommodate just certain groups of people. Now they're in all different bars and stuff. Is that something that you're consciously aware of in becoming an assimilation but also preserving culture?
Yes. And I say that because, you look at food. Food is one thing. You have the really traditional food, and then you have the fusion that has assimilated and just making sure there's a taste palette for everyone. But also, you have the first generation of Asian. Now you have the second, third, fourth, and fifth. You see that definitely in California, and here you're seeing that here. Even for my family, I'm second generation here. My parents were first immigrants, but I've sad to say that I don't know my language and heritage, even though I've been here in this whole aspect of the greater Houston area. So you're seeing that where you have opportunities that they're not necessarily losing their heritage, but they have integrated into the community, and it takes an extra effort to just know about their rich heritage and even taking language classes.
It's so hard. It is so hard. As somebody who was raised in a bilingual home, Spanish and English, with my kids, I have so many friends that we would love to teach our children the language, but it's tough. It is really tough.
Well, having a month like AAPI month gives you an opportunity to highlight a lot of the culture and things. What's going on? It's still in the community. I know we're a little late in the month, but there are still activities going on. People can learn more.
Yeah. Our partners at the Asia Society has been doing a lot of great things in this community. I believe they have a sake tasting coming up, too, as well. So that's something you can...
Did you bring some today?
Unfortunately not.
Boy, that perked up my two co-hosts when they heard sake was on the table.
Yes, and so that's something that we've seen throughout the month. We had our luncheon, AAPI luncheon earlier. We had a guest speaker, Hudson Yang from Fresh Off the Boat, came in to talk about his own journey, and now he has a culinary show with Natural Geographic. So it's related to food, but it's also seeing how he represents the Asian community on screen. I think because in the month of May, it's ending, Those are the things that have happened in this whole month of May.
Well, I guess, and AAPI Restaurant Weeks goes through June 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And you have the HAAPIFest is happening through June 15th, starts day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there are still programs
Yes,
out
there. There are programs there. And I'm glad you brought that up. There's a big film fest going from OCA, our partners there. As well, they're doing their whole restaurant weeks.
Is there a website people can go to find out more?
They're going to have to go through their website, not our website. We don't have necessarily a repository of one particular website, but they're just different. The different organizations that putting out. I believe Asia Society, if you just Google them, as well as OCA Houston.
And what about asianchamber.hou.org?
Yes, we finished pretty much our AAPI month. What we have upcoming is our luncheon to celebrate scholarships. We have given out 10 scholarships, collectively $20,000 for high school seniors. Over the past 20 years, we actually have been doing that, investing in the next generations of leaders.
Well, what a pleasure to learn so much from you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Paul Gore is the co-director of Asian Chamber of Commerce Houston. Again, thanks for joining us on Hello Houston.
It's my pleasure to be here.